Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Darren, and in this video I decided to start a mini-series. I want to take a look at all the classes in the alpha right now. I'm somebody who cannot play the alpha because I don't have it, but I'm still perusing the websites, perusing the patch updates, perusing videos, and I only wish there was more. If I could get the alpha, I'd probably make a lot of videos and stuff like this, but I can't show everything. So I decided to make a video list of things I'm excited about for each and every single class in the game. I'm going to be talking about all the things I'm excited for each and every single class. I want to kind of start with Rogue, and then I want to talk about classes that I'm super interested towards the end of the video. You guys can kind of decide which one you want to see after this if you enjoy this type of content. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the actual video. Now, when it comes to rogues, I feel like this is the kind of class that I know the most about, but at the same time, the least about. It is a class that I started playing when I was right about to quit the game. I was on my druid and I realized after transferring to a server to follow a buddy of mine from high school into his guild, and then that guild eventually swapping factions, I realized that I'm just not enjoying the game anymore. And then right before quitting, I took a look at my rogue and I started leveling him. And I had so much fun. It ended up being the feral I never got, a better version of what feral gameplay could bring me. So I stuck with it and I still play to this day. Now I guess the question is, how are rogues looking in BFA? We can honestly break it down by specializations, and all three specs honestly excite me. Assassination is getting so many good new changes. First of all, your mastery is going from only facilitating bleeds to now facilitating bleeds and poisons, which is insane. The actual spec is now finally going to have that whole dot-based fantasy to it. I still think it'll be a strong playstyle for the spec, and I think the poison will be more about upfront damage, and then the bleeds and the poison will be more about damage over time. But I've always wanted to play my Assassination Rogue as an Affliction Warlock with daggers, and I think in BFA I might finally be able to do that. Another awesome thing that's coming back to Assassination is Dispatch. I loved this ability way back in Pandaria. I loved it back in Warlords of Draenor, and I missed it when it was gone in Legion. With this ability coming back, I think, honestly, I'm just going to slot it and stay with it. And not only is it a cool, niche, unique ability, it also allows us a little bit extra execute damage, which is super fun in PvP. Once a druid gets low, you stun him and just stabbing him to death with it. I think I'm going to enjoy that ability a ton. I'm also somebody who does a heavy amount of PvP, so there are a few talents that are super exciting for me. Iron Wire buffs your silence up to 8 seconds worth of silence and has a 15% damage reduction on enemies that are silenced by it. Now, there's a lot of classes that can be silenced, even warriors. If you silence them, they can no longer use Intimidate and Shout, which can be great in a lot of situations, but that silence and damage reduction on top of it, honestly, I think is going to make Assassination a strong competitor in PvP. And I think it's just going to be an overpowered specialization in general with the rest of the changes. And then probably the best quality of life change is Leech and Poison now stacks as a third poison. No longer does it replace your crippling poison, so you can have deadly, crippling, and leech at the same time, which is so good to be able to see the specialization with 3 different poisons running around and really being the master of poisons. The next spec is Outlaw. Now this one is a very unique specialization, as there's about 20 people overall in the world that play Outlaw. It is probably one of the most underplayed specs of Rogue, or one of the most underplayed specs of a DPS class that I've ever seen. But this specialization is so much fun. I have such a blast with it, and watching the arena tournaments with Waz playing it in various comps that I used to play back in a couple seasons ago to 20 to 100, watching the same spec shine to this day is super exciting. And with the small changes that it's getting in BFA, it's actually shaping to be like a good spec. Now, what's good about Outlaw? Well, not Roll the Bones. A lot of people hate Roll the Bones, but that's staying in the game, and I think good riddance. This is one of those abilities that defines the spec and tells you whether you can actually play it and learn how to play it, or you can't learn and then you'll just fall. And you know what? I kind of like that it has that defining characteristic of the specialization. We also got this insane talent of Blinding Powder, which I think on its own, this talent alone can make Outlaw probably the strongest spec for PvP. It reduces the cooldown of our blind by 30 seconds and adds a little bit more to our throw range for it. This ability, this talent on its own is going to be so strong, as a lot of classes play around Rogue's blind and usually trade their trinket for that blind. This allows Outlaw Rogue to set up a lot more long-term CC chains on enemies, and with that blind being available a lot earlier when paired with a class like a mage, in arenas you can just throw them down into a CC chain and literally take them out of a game a lot more often. I'm also really liking some of the changes they're making to brand new talents, and overall, grapple and hook becoming baseline makes the spec a lot more interesting to take a look at. I think it's definitely going to be a great specialization, and we'll see how it develops in BFA. And then there's Subtlety, and Subtlety is for the most part staying the same. There are a few talent changes that I'm not quite sure about, and some new talents that are pretty exciting, but we don't have the full picture yet. For the most part, Subtlety is going to stay basically the same Subtlety as it is in Legion. So if you're somebody who's a fan of that, then you're probably pretty happy. One of the biggest changes to Subtlety though is a massive buff to our Shadow Blades. And this doesn't make any sense, but hear me out. So Shadow Blades not only allows you extra combo point generation and your auto attacks deal shadow damage, but your auto attacks, your backstabs, and shadow strikes will all deal damage equal to a shadow strike. So every single one of your pokes with the dagger as an auto attack will also be a full shadow strike. And Gloomblade deals 30% more damage, of course. That's going to be honestly insane. I have no idea how Blizzard decided to make this ability so strong. They are doing a whole big thing where a lot of massive big cooldowns are coming back to global cooldown. So I guess for Subtlety they decided if they are going to waste their global cooldown to turn on Shadow Blades, they might as well really make it worth the effort. And it's going to be extra deadly in PvP, especially if Subtlety still remains its amazing, humongous burst in the openers. That's about everything that I'm excited about for rogues in BFA so far right now. For the most part, I'm happy how the classes have been in Legion, and all three specs are great in their own way. And it looks like Legion and transitioning into BFA is only going to try to make the specs a little bit more defined, a little bit more special, and bring back a few abilities that were lost to the baseline of what a rogue is. I'm really excited about BFA Rogue. Cannot wait to see where it's shaping up to be. I really would love to see a lot more footage of it on YouTube, but because I'm not on the alpha, I can't go make the footage that I want to show you guys. So the only thing I can do is sit back and hope all the other YouTube guys can make it. But that can't stop me from taking a look at the classes with all the resources I have available and giving you guys my impressions. Speaking about impressions, which class would you want me to cover next? I am kind of leaning between a Hunter and a Warlock. So let me know in the comments below which one you want to see next, and I'll try to cover that class as best as I can in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and hit a like if you're excited about rogues and want to play one in the future. Go ahead and hit subscribe for all the BFA updates, patch updates, discussion videos, and 5v5 1v1 duels. And if you guys want to catch the live stream, hitting the notification bell allows you to get a notification for every single one of my videos that goes up and every single live stream that goes live. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see all of you in another video.